Welcome back to T. Shaw's Progressive Bluegrass. Thanks so much for coming back for more. For anybody that listened last week, I designated last week the Bluegrass Industry Professional Day, or week, or month, or year. Well, this week is Bluegrass Fan Appreciation Day, or week, or month. And boy, howdy, do I have some appreciation for fans. Many of you, or even most of you, know I made the trek to Telluride Bluegrass Festival in June. Bucket list, trip of a lifetime. Now, I've always considered myself a professional when it comes to these things. I'm going to festivals for a long time. So, of course, I did research. What weather should I expect? What climate should I expect? I need to be prepared. Well, I had almost all of my cold weather gear. I was expecting 40-degree temperatures at night, maybe even upper 30s. But the high for the whole week was 75. Majority of the week it was 73, 72, 70. I didn't even think to take my easy up. I had no shade available. What I didn't know is 75 degrees that much closer to the sun than what I'm accustomed to is that much hotter. The air is thinner. There's less between you and the sun, and you're 10,000 feet closer. So anyway, really, really hot. Lucky for me, I learned quite quickly that Telluride is the most chill, laid-back festival in the world, and everybody is family. Everybody can be trusted. There are no strangers. And my next tent neighbors, Jeremy Tabor from Denver, Joe Harrison from Seattle, and Ben Salaman from Seattle, took me in, shared their shade, shared their camp, and we ended up having an amazing Telluride experience. So after this bucket list trip, I decided, why not feature some amazing bluegrass fans on T. Shaw's Progressive Bluegrass? Because without the fans, we would have no musicians. Therefore, the fans are equally important to the music itself. So with that, let's go to my conversation with my three neighbors. Today we're taking T. Shaw's Progressive Bluegrass in a slightly different direction. I have my immediate neighbors from Telluride Bluegrass, Ben, Joe, and Jeremy, joining us today. I got there Wednesday afternoon and set up camp, and they arrived sometime after I left to go to First Grass and see East Nash Grass. And when I came back, they were nowhere to be found, but their camp was set up, and one of the three tents that they had was literally backed up against my tent. And I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. But it turns out they came back after I went to bed. And they came back and had a couple beers and were incredibly respectful. And so I knew even before I fell asleep that night, we're going to be great neighbors. And thank you guys are great neighbors, because the first thing I've told everybody when they asked, how was your Telluride experience? And I'm like, it was awesome, but it was hot. It was the hottest 75 degrees I've ever felt in my life, and I didn't even pack my easy up. I had no opportunity to have shade, and thank you guys not only had it, but you had it in abundance, and you opened up your camp to me and shared it with me and helped make my first Telluride experience just absolutely incredible. Ben, Joe, Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Trev. Nice to see you again.
I'm stoked to have you guys on here. This is a little bit unique. I don't want to get too long-winded, but you guys travel to Telluride frequently, not every year, but you always travel together. What was kind of the initial motivating factor to get you guys to come to Telluride? Because you're all based in Seattle, I believe, currently.
Yeah. So I'll jump in here. I was the first of us to go. I went back in 2018, and it was shortly after we'd finished school. And I was just looking for something to do that year. I had started to kind of dip my toes into bluegrass a little bit. I think one of the first bands I started listening to was Trampled by Turtles, and one of my friends I knew he was going, and he kind of dragged me along, and he wasn't there with us this year, but the following year I dragged Jeremy along, and then a couple years later we dragged Ben along. So we've just kind of been expanding over time.
Yeah, and the two of them are
Now,
in
was
Seattle. And I was just going to say, I'm in Denver, so I'm holding down the fort, and I'm also holding down all the shade structures you were talking about. So, it's nice to have them fly in, and I can provide a a bit of the excess camping equipment for us to go up and do this every other year or so when we get up there. So,
That's awesome. So, did you originally meet in Seattle and then you moved to Denver?
nope. So Joe and I have actually known each other since we were in kindergarten. So we went all the way through, elementary, junior high, high school, all the way into college together, and then kind of parted ways, but have remained close ever since. And Ben's been a more recent addition. Luckily, was also at University of Oregon, but really have developed a friendship outside of school at this point. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Was able to meet Joe, one of the first people he met when he moved to Seattle from San Diego. So kind of like the how convoluted it was him bringing me out to bluegrass. It's just a hodgepodge of friends, kind of overlapping, meeting other friends. Hopefully, that's a nice little trampoline into what bluegrass is all about, right? But yeah, awesome background with these two, and wouldn't do it with anybody else.
You guys were definitely professionals. This is not your first festival. Now, I always had this heavenly picture of Telluride. I think it's safe to say Telluride is the biggest, best, the Bowl, which I don't think I'm allowed to say, of bluegrass festivals. It's the Mecca. But even living in Denver, that's a solid 7-hour drive. Did you guys know about Telluride's history before you went to Telluride, or did you just see, oh, there's this cool festival advertised, it's got trampled by turtles, let's go check it out?
Yeah, I'd say I think growing up in Denver, I had heard about it, but family wasn't as into bluegrass. I kind of found it on my own later in life. And so I didn't really know too much about it as far as what the experience would be like before I actually planted my feet on that baseball field the first time. So, and I will forever be going back, hopefully every other year for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, I think
That's amazing.
from my perspective, the lore of Telluride did precede it a little bit, and both as a place, I think I knew how beautiful Telluride was as a location, but had never been there. Had never really want to make the drive. It's longer than I need to go for a camping trip, and I got plenty of other options in between. So that's I just never had a need to go out there before, but I think there was such an allure from things that I had heard over the years. In high school, I had friends that had tacked on and sort of gone for their first times, and just kind of starting to hear about the community more so than even the music. I think was really the draw for me, and understanding that everybody will tell you it's like it's just kind of a different festival. And I mean, when we were in high school, the types of festivals we were going to were loud, rowdy, not necessarily the more laid back kind of full day family affair that Telluride is, but even within that, knowing how much fun that could be, I think had a pretty strong draw for me.
Yeah, and for me, I went in entirely cold my first year. I only heard about Telluride as a gorgeous place to ski, right? And I think that's a major part of what makes it so fun for me. I love things with depth, with lore, with story. So it seems like every time I go back, this was my second bluegrass, you just learn something about it, right? Whether it's different camp names, we'll get into that, but all the social lore that's packed into that, beyond the music, beyond the art, it's truly one of a kind, man. So I mean, my hair's standing up just thinking back about it and how much we learned and how much we got to experience this go around.
Now, that first time you went, Ben, did you have proper clothing? Were you prepared for the elements?
Actually, it was way gnarlier in the other direction. It wasn't hot; it was wet. And God bless Joe. He went through a rainy Telluride, I think, a couple years prior, and he said, "Just be prepared for every season, man. Make sure you have a good poncho." Thank God we packed that, and you learn your way around a tent, and the rain flies real quick. But yes, was definitely prepared for that one, thankfully.
I mean, that being said, though, Trevor, every year we've been there, we've been in close proximity to somebody that is wildly underprepared for the weather conditions. I mean, it's like a couple of years ago, we came back to the campsite, staying in a different campsite than we stayed together, but there was a pretty torrential downpour, as Ben was talking about, and There was a poor fellow that was a few campsites down that just everything was destroyed. His tent had caved in. There was water everywhere, and so good preparation does ensure a good time. You might get lucky and with just uh, a few essentials like you had this last time around and be just fine. But it can definitely throw some curveballs at you, no doubt.
I was prepared for cold weather. I had all my winter gear. I had very little summer gear, but if it was cold, I was set.
Yeah, my second year I went, I was vastly underprepared. And that was because the first year I went was much like this year. It was 75 and sunny the whole time. So my image of Telluride after year one was, well, it's just going to be nice and hot. And yeah, we definitely, it's kind that you would refer to us as veterans, but it took a few trials and errors to get to that point where we felt vastly prepared for anything that tiny little mountain town could throw at you in a single day.
One of the things that I was disappointed about, or maybe surprised even, I think Jeremy's back. He's not moving. There,
Yep, I'm
Great
back.
though.
there we are. And
Handsome as always.
that's a perfect picture. I was fascinated by the town of Telluride itself, and I didn't get an opportunity to do anything in town outside of the band contest, which takes place in the town. Have you had the opportunity, either at this festival or previous festivals, to actually spend any time in Telluride itself or do any Telluride things?
Oh yeah, I think we always make a point to hit that little downtown strip. There's great little places to grab a bite, fun little shops to walk around. But I mean, further, you went up for first grass, riding the tram up to the peak and kind of overlooking the valley is a great experience. But I mean, I was telling these guys, I was like, God, we had like three, four, five more things on the to-do list we just couldn't get to between the music, the festival, what have you. It feels like the place that keeps on giving, man, especially if you love music and the outdoors.
Yeah, it is a wonderful town. I think our first time there, one of the first things we heard is like, you got to go to Brown Dog Pizza. And we went, and, honest, me personally, I might make some enemies. I didn't find the pizza that memorable, but the place was, and it is iconic. It's kind of right in the middle of town. But there's a lot of fun stuff to do there. We usually get our handful of knickknacks. We usually restock on a few camping supplies, get some groceries. There's a great music store in town that's really fun. But yeah, I think to Ben's point, one of the best things is always getting on the gondola, getting up, seeing the entire town from up above on that ridge line. And in past years, we didn't do as good of a job this year with this, but in past years, we've always tried to incorporate some kind of outdoor element, go hike up to the falls or get outside and kind of spend some time down by the river. We even talked about doing some mountain biking this year, but the mountain park was going to be closed this go round. So we'll put that on the list for next time around. But there is tons and tons of fun stuff to do. And it is so small that it is just uh, the perfect amount of space to kind of wander around and not get lost, not get tired. You're close to home whenever you're ready to turn around and head back to the music. So,
That's awesome. I didn't even consider that. It's not a town you can get lost in.
well,
You can
there's
Did you
also get
plenty.
know?
lost
Here's
very easily down the back corners, just like every time I'm there, there's always something to peruse. I feel like I am always getting lost there, despite feeling like I've known it quite a bit.
quick little Telluride trivia for you gentlemen. There are no stoplights in that town, yet Telluride was the first city or town in the world to provide alternating current electricity.
Wow. I would
There
not
you
have
have
thought
it.
that.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Add it to
It's
my
not even
list.
a, yeah, I mean, I know it's a mining town, but like I would have prioritized some of the other ones I feel like in Colorado before Telluride. So, fun fact indeed.
I found
That's
all
awesome.
kinds of weird facts researching Telluride, but that one stood out.
Did you look at the average price of a home?
So
That's a pretty fun fact.
I did not. I decided it was probably pretty insane. I would think the entry level home started 7 digits, but did you?
Easy.
No, we don't
No.
need
So
to.
maybe before this episode's over, we'll Google that. Now you got the curiosity going. So I know if I come back to Telluride, every festival I go to, I learn from it. There's always something I regret not being able to do, and always something to say, the next time I come back, I'm going to do this differently. I'm sure each of you have something individually about that. We can start with Ben on this one, unless he needs more time to think about it.
I could dive right in. I think one thing I do a bit differently, and you're with the group, everyone's kind of vibing differently. If it was just Ben doing it, I would be up all night at camp, Town Park, where they have all the jam sessions going after the festival closes down with all the players. I'd be there as long as I could be until the sun comes up. But fact of the matter is, you have a 5-day festival. It's a marathon. You don't want to sprint that. So I don't know. Maybe there's more time you could carve out for a full night out at Town Park. I'm sure we'll talk about that more. One thing I regret, probably to Jeremy's point, just getting a little more outdoorsy with it. Another one of our neighbors, he actually did the 10-mile hike one of those mornings. It was just too hot to get out there, though, man. But I mean, you look around when you're in that valley and you get really curious kind of what's in those woods, what trails are out there. So definitely putting that one high up on the list next go around, I think.
Yeah, and I'd say drink more water. I gotta always remember to do that because even in more mild weather, I feel like I just really have to take care of myself, and it's easy to forget. You're having a lot of fun. You're dipping in and out of the venue, but you got to remember to take care of yourself and put on sunscreen. You got a lot of UV up there. That's a big takeaway, and I have to remind myself of that every single year. But yeah, that's probably my big takeaway this time, every time, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. For me, I'd probably say, there's always, every year I go, there's always a couple acts that I miss that I would have loved to see. But having gone a bunch of times now, you just kind of learn that you can't do it all. It's just there's so much to do and there's so many different bands to see. And sometimes you really do just need to go lay in the shade for a little while and decompress and take a rest, drink some water before going back in for the whole evening. So I missed Sierra Hull's set this year. That was one that I had kind of scoped out. I did want to go catch hers. I've seen her in the past, and I'm sure she'll be there in the future. But there's always a couple of them that you miss.
Yeah, I definitely had a conflict issue. I mean, as we're going to get into it too, my kick-ass motivation factor to get out there was Randy Steele and the High Cold Wind in the band contest, which I can proudly say placed second, which I think that that justifies that trip. But I was not prepared for the water and the dehydration. I probably told you guys at camp, just unpacking the car, not even setting up camp, just unpacking the car, I drank a half a gallon of water. And that was my first stop when I went to park the car. Because for those of you that don't know Telluride, you don't get to park at camp. You unload your crap, and then you got to drive your car a mile or further away, and they shuttle you back. And I pulled out of that parking lot. I said, where can I go buy gallons of water? And then probably proceeded to drink another half gallon of water in the parking lot at the grocery store before I even parked the car. But as I was saying, the conflicts, Telluride is a much bigger festival than I typically go to. I've been to Delfest several times, and that's certainly been the largest. I think Telluride's at least similar in size, if not slightly larger. But there was a lot of conflicts, especially going to the band contest in the morning and not being able to stay up till 5 a.m. I knew I had to be up at 7 or 8 in the morning to go be part of the band contest. That was tough. That was tough for me, and I've been through that before. There was a lot of conflicts.
Can't do it all.
Can't do it all. And now we're going to take a quick pause for a message from our sponsor.
1, 2. It's a big purchase, it's a big deal. Trevor Shaw knows exactly how you feel for refinance or a new home. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan.
Hello, I'm Trevor Shaw. I'm not just a bluegrass aficionado. I'm a bluegrass aficionado that's a mortgage loan officer at Chat Mortgage in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'd be honored for the opportunity to help you get your residential mortgage loan or refinance anywhere in Tennessee, Georgia, or Colorado. From veterans using their hard-earned benefits to first-time home buyers needing down payment assistance to retirees finally getting the home they've always dreamed of. Call or text me today at 864-50-T-SHAW. That's 864-50-T-SHAW.
It's a big purchase, it's a big deal. Trevor Shaw knows exactly how you feel for refinance or a new home. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan.
Chat Mortgage is powered by Almeida Mortgage Corporation, NMLS number 271603. Chat Mortgage is located at 6650 East Brainerd Road, Suite 208 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Phone number 423-591-9801. Trevor Shaw, NMLS number 929381. And something that I was really surprised about, and you gentlemen might be able to comment on it, it's Telluride Bluegrass Festival, but I would say no more than half, well, maybe as much as 2/3 of the music was actually bluegrass. There was a huge diversification of music that absolutely was not bluegrass, and that was quite a surprise to me.
Yeah.
But you guys enjoy a good diversified group of music.
Oh,
What was your
absolutely.
favorite act that you saw this most recent year that was bluegrass? What was your favorite non-bluegrass act that you saw?
I could start us off. I think my standout, well, maybe the non-bluegrass. We'll start there. Anything Susan Tedeschi, however you say her last name. She has some pipes on her, and hearing it live is just, it's one thing hearing it recorded, but when you hear the notes she can just conjure up live, it's nuts. They did a Beatles cover at the end of Tedeschi Trucks. That was phenomenal, but I actually enjoyed her the most with house band, so a little bit of a hybrid with bluegrass overlap. In terms of a bluegrass only group that stood out, Joe, can you help me out? It's the one we saw in the morning. It's slipping my mind right now.
Clay Street Unit, they kind of bridge a little bit more
Yeah,
between bluegrass
they
and country.
straddle.
Yeah.
Clay Street Unit would kind of be that middle ground for me, and then I just gotta go Sam Bush. I mean, it never gets old, year over year, and he plays the same run of songs, and I love how he brings out all the players again. I love the collaborative nature of bluegrass, so that one in my eyes does not get stale.
Yeah, he is the
Yeah,
mayor
Yeah.
of Telluride.
he
Yeah,
is, and
the king.
it's hard to know how long he's going to be playing there. So I take advantage of every set, and we always make it to Sam Bush, over some other acts sometimes, or over other activities. But I I have to agree. I mean, that is a consistent theme of Telluride is the diversity of music. We've seen everybody from Charlie Crockett to we saw Jack Black perform one
Tenacious
year.
D.
Tenacious D was there one
Wow.
year. So they bring in all these extra acts that are a lot of fun, but really we're there for all of it. I think we all love bluegrass, but I think we love the diversity of acts. So, and one, I don't think. Well, actually, um, did Jerry Douglas did have his own set this year, but we didn't see it, right?
No, he
I
didn't.
think
Not this year.
not
But
this
in
year.
the
So he was
past,
just
his sets are
yeah.
always unbelievable.
He was with
Yeah. So but I know
Bluegrass,
he
the
was there.
Telluride House Band.
Yeah,
He usually has
and
had
that's
his
always
own
good.
set too in the past, which has always been fun. But yeah, I think that's one of the things that keeps me coming back is I've been to a number of other festivals. Some are big name festivals where you kind of go and you're picking out big bands that you really want to see that are kind of once in a lifetime opportunities and you go for a lineup. Whereas Telluride is one that I never go for the lineup. I just go because I want to be back in Telluride. I want to be with the community again. It's so fun seeing friends that we've made over the years year after year, and we're kind of accumulating more and more friends, yourself included, Trev. We hope you make it back out again someday, but it's much more community driven, and that's why I love it so much more than the specific acts every day. I know we're going to see incredible music, and I trust the people who put it on to pull in some of those cool bands that you wouldn't necessarily expect to see at a bluegrass festival, but kind of fill in a little bit more diversity of genres that you can kind of dip your toes into and find new bands.
And just to add to that quick, one thing I've always admired about the festival is they release tickets well before the lineup. And I think it's a testament of one, the fans' faith in whoever decides the lineup, but also it's just, hey, you're going to have a good time, buy into it. You're not buying in for the act, you're buying in for the festival. And I haven't seen a lot of that elsewhere. So again, one of those little kind of touches they do that I've always admired about them.
But we also have to say Randy Steele, but not just Randy Steele. I think the band contest is such an awesome part of Telluride, and we've seen some great acts come through there or sort of be adjacent to that. That I think every year are some of the standouts, even though they aren't on the ticket. But those are always some of the really fun kind of unexpected sets that you get to see. So it was fun to see Randy Steele. It was fun to see some of the other folks this year, but we've seen some great ones kind of come through those over the years. Joe, what was that one that we saw a few years back that we really
The Woodbelly guys, I think it was
yeah,
Woodbelly.
Woodbelly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we met them too back at the dumpsters, and they were chatting us up and gave us some koozies. I think I still have it in my ski gear somewhere. Woodbelly.
Yeah. So it's always fun to have that.
They quick bounce back to our initial conversation, and we'll jump back into that. The median home price in Telluride is $2.25 million.
Oh,
There it is.
easy.
Yeah. That's 7 digits.
Tom Cruise has a huge estate there that he was trying to sell for
Hey,
$56 million.
Yeah, I think
Contest. Of
that's a
course,
bit
that
out of
was
my
the
price
big reason
range.
that got me motivated. Just a little. Just a little. Maybe we could all go in on one. Half a million each? Well, for a vacation home.
Perfect.
easy, done.
What has been for all of you, not just this last year, but maybe every year at Telluride, who's been your favorite discovery that you found at Telluride for the first time?
I'll take the layup before these guys can talk. Town Park, a campground that's right next to the main venue, right next to where we were staying in Warner Field. For reference for the folks listening, there's a few different campgrounds as part of this festival. There's a couple that are probably a half a mile, close to a mile up the road past downtown. And then there's a couple super close to the venue itself. So in years past, we've stayed at the ones where you have to shuttle in. This was, I believe, our collective first year staying at Warner Field, closer to the venue. So in all of our eyes, it
Wow.
unlocked a brand new experience with Town Park. And, we joked around. It's like the LinkedIn or the networking event for bluegrass players. You're seeing people who may or may not even have tickets to the festival walking around with their instrument cases, just looking to play, meet someone new, get better. So that was head and shoulders probably the most exciting discovery in my eyes. I've never seen anything like that, and I don't think I ever will outside of Telluride.
And I'm guessing you're maybe more referring to musical groups that are that we've discovered at Telluride. Is that accurate,
Oh,
Trevor?
Um, maybe initially that was my thought, but no. I mean, there's
I took it and ran.
you titled this group off the rails, so run with what you're thinking.
Well, music discovery. You know what? Clay Street Unit, man. I've been playing them since we got back, and they rip. And I know it's not necessarily pure bluegrass, but yeah, that one's been on repeat on the Spotify lately for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and I guess to tie the two together, Ben, the fact that you get to go discover Town Park and that some of these artists are coming in after hours to come play amongst peer groups of peers, I think it's fun to see artists you know and love play in a different setting, play in a more intimate setting, play in a more sort of just kind of casual and impromptu setting is really a fun way to see artists you already know and love. So I think that is pretty cool. But for me personally, I think my best discovery coming out of Telluride was probably Bela Fleck. Back in the day, because I did not really listen to Bela Fleck. I didn't really. I think if I had maybe even listened to some, I don't know, some of the top Bela Fleck songs, I don't know that I would have necessarily loved it, but it was so fun to watch Bela Fleck play. And there was, I don't know if maybe the set we saw, he was just ripping and it was fast grass or what, as opposed to some of the calmer, folkier stuff that he does. But that was a blast. And so I came out of that with a brand new discovery. And then I think there was, last time we were there, we saw
Was
Sierra
that the
Farrell.
My Bluegrass Heart tour that you're referring to? Does that ring a
Um,
bell?
it would have been, it would have been,
Before
it,
that, I think.
it would have been before that. Yeah. Because this
Okay.
probably was like 6 years ago that I first saw Bela Fleck and kind of latched on. But I think last time we were there, I saw and had already known who Sierra Farrell was, but seeing Sierra Farrell and then coming out, I just like could not stop listening to Sierra Farrell. And so that wasn't a discovery as much as it was just sort of a realization of how deeply I actually liked that music and appreciated
Mm,
her. So those are my two. Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, she definitely was one that I was thinking of as well. Her set was phenomenal, and she just has such a charisma on stage. So anytime I could get the chance to see her, I would definitely go catch her shows again. I was lucky enough that the first year I went, the very last act closing out was Sturgill Simpson, and he's been somebody that I've continued to listen to over the years and have seen a few times. But watching him close out the
Did
main
he do his
stage the
cutting
first time I
the
was
grass
there,
set?
he didn't do a full cut in the grass set. It was a very hybrid between, he was doing a little bit of everything, some of his country stuff, some more bluegrass stuff, but I didn't really know much about who he was, but he just was, I just remember leaving that, seeing him and being like, I'm pretty sure that's probably top three best guitar players I've ever seen in my life. He was so phenomenal. So that was
Wow.
one for sure.
Wow.
But I think overall, I would say that like I wasn't huge into bluegrass until after Telluride. So pretty much all these staple bands that are there always I've gotten into over the years and have found even more and more niches of just, of bluegrass in general. So having gone from my first time to this most recent time and knowing all of these bands are 75% of them there and like, oh yeah, I've seen Sam Bush 5 times now and left over 7 times outside of Telluride as well. And just having the experience of being able to fall into bluegrass through this festival is what I would cherish the most.
And something that I had mentioned a little bit earlier, I didn't get to participate in. From a discovery standpoint, just if I'm going to answer that question too, it was just the whole experience of Telluride. I don't think I discovered a band. Um, I mean, there was a couple that I'm. Who won the band contest? The Litch Brothers.
Lynch
Lich
Brothers.
Was
Brothers.
that
Yeah.
them?
Hmm.
Litch.
Yep.
They were. I'm biased. I don't think I enjoyed them anywhere near as much as Randy's set, but they're definitely a band I'm going to see again. So that would probably be my discovery act. And I also noticed they're playing at IBMA in the Bluegrass Ramble this year coming up in Chattanooga. So I'm going to get a chance to see
Oh,
them again
great.
just in a couple of months. So I'm
Nice.
pretty stoked about that. You had mentioned the camps and town park, and we were in a baseball field. Warner Park or Warner Field was literally a baseball field. You told me about the waterfall in town park, and I went and discovered that, and just can't believe I'm at a bluegrass festival with this gorgeous mountain waterfall. But I also came across Camp Runamuck, which I only knew a handful of the people there personally, but through social media and other things, I knew like 100 people there. And they also kind of adopted me as a home camp. And I've never seen a setup like that at a festival ever. I guess that whole town park, sets up a week in advance of the festival and literally turns into a village. Camp Runamuck had a full bar, a circus tent, a full kitchen, a full stage, I mean, it was like the ultimate hospitality suite, plus a view to the main stage. They had some amazing late night musicians, and one of the other bands that I discovered for the first time that I didn't take seriously when they told me the name was Hot Dog. I'm like, really? What are we going to be dealing with, some college kids or something? Well, it was a David Grisman cover band, and they were as good as David Grisman's band. Jeremy Garrett from the String Dusters was involved in it, and just blew my mind that this isn't even part of the festival. This is part of the campground, completely unaffiliated with Telluride Bluegrass.
I think all of us can look at each other and say there were a few songs played in camp that were, if we were to make a top 5, 10 list of songs we heard that weekend, we would probably pull a few out of the camp experience. It was that good. And the quality of music, wherever you looked, is top notch.
Yeah, and
Well,
having been a few times before, I think it added an entirely new layer to Telluride since it was our first time in Warnerfield too. Usually we're in that bus line catching the ride back to Lawson Hill at the end of the night, but being able to say, it's midnight, we got a couple more hours in us. Let's go see what's going on at Runamuck and Area 51 and all those other, stumble your way into the woods and go see what's playing. There's always something going on.
and it just doesn't really end
Now, did
either. It's just like you can listen for a little, you can wander on, and 300 feet down the way, or 100 feet down the way, you've got another set, and it just keeps going and going and going, and so you can listen to music to your heart's content until the wee hours.
And you don't get accosted by the giggle police trying to put you to bed at 2 a.m. because there's quiet hours in Lawson Hill.
Yep.
That's important.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I didn't overdo night one. And so I did go to bed much earlier than I normally would for a festival. And I listened to Town Park. I don't know if it was Camp Run Amok or whatever, where the cheering, the hoopering, the hollering, I mean, it went on probably until 3 in the morning, and I could hear it crystal clear from 500 yards away.
Yeah.
That might have been my biggest regret, is not participating in that first night, but there's no way to know because it's hypothetical how I would have felt the next day. So I probably made the adult choice.
Yeah, you
Yep.
did. But
Yeah.
they would have woken you up with pancake breakfast and espresso. I saw there were some tents in there. You're talking about how built up everything was. There were some tents in Town Park that had espresso machines. This is primitive camping for them. I think they do have some outlets in some of the maybe in some of the sites there, but it's like, well, they have to obviously, I guess, for some of these, but a lot of generators and whatnot. All that to say, it's seeing espresso machines and full pancake breakfast lines, and seeing I saw an air fryer in somebody's shade structure. I was like, what's these people are no joke, and they will treat you well until 3 a.m. with music, and then they'll treat you well in the morning with coffee and smiles. So pretty awesome place to be.
Feel like such an amateur. But, oh well. What are you gonna do? Did you guys see any of the official Telluride late night acts at all?
Yeah, we did actually go to the night grass on the first night. So I guess night zero, technically, up on top of the mountain. We saw Salmon and Friends just after we got
Okay.
in. And this was the first time we actually caught either first grass or, one of those late night sets. But haven't didn't actually go to one after the festival on Thursday through Sunday, but that was a highlight too as well. I feel having been there a few times, they're still finding new things to do and being able to go catch an extra set on night zero up on top of the mountain at the convention center. I didn't even know that was an option until this year. That was definitely a highlight, and it was fun how many friends of Salmon there were that they brought out. Got to see a little mix of different artists coming out the woodwork with them.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we got to see Jake Shimabukuro there, but seeing Jake Shimabukuro there was so fun. Really,
Yeah, I didn't know somebody could play ukulele like that.
May have had some.
That was wild.
yeah.
So you guys are taking next year off. You're planning to come back the following year. Is it just because it's so much effort to go to Telluride, or what's the theory on every other year? And do you supplement it on the odd years? Do you go to a different festival like Rocky Grass or something? How's that work?
Yeah, I think we're just a bit dispersed now in different places. Being in Seattle, it is quite the trek. And unfortunately, as you get older, you realize that you have only a certain amount of time off that you can allocate towards certain things. So, for me, for instance, I'm planning to go to Japan next year and spend a good chunk of my time off to go ski and tour around. And I feel like I can't do Telluride every year to also be able to go and do some things like that as well. So, got to pick and choose. Telluride will always be there. They've got it nailed in. So, we'll be there for the 55th.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, part of it is about it's been a boys' trip. I've brought my wife out there before. 5 days of bluegrass is a lot of bluegrass for somebody that's a tad less into it than I am, so I can understand that. But I think that would probably incentivize me to go out more if she was interested. I think the other piece of it though too is I think it makes it extra special when you've been away for just that much longer and you get to come back to it and enjoy it that much more. So yeah, I always look forward to my year off, but then I really, really look forward to being back and feel like it's been a long time. So I am not supplementing in between years. But what I will say is that a few days ago, I just locked in my wedding venue. I know I said wife, but we're going to have our reception and sort of wedding party, and we're going to do it at of all places in Lyons, where they do Rocky Grass. So I guess I will be doing something at a bluegrass festival or a bluegrass festival location on the year off. So that'll be fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
We'll
Yeah.
bring our spoons for you, Jer.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and that one's up in Lyons, Colorado, but they got Telluride posters from all, like many of the years of the festival there. And so it'll be cool to go peruse that a little bit more in detail because in their venue there, they've got a full spread of old Telluride posters. So, of course, I liked it. I was like, all right, let's lock it in.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
broke
last
down. I got a
year.
Telluride poster this year.
Oh, good for you. Is it hanging up behind you?
Yeah, it's rolled out. I haven't framed yet. It should be up for my next episode, but I told myself I'd never buy another poster. I've got like 1,000 posters, and when I saw that one, just like, all right, I'm breaking my rule. This one's awesome.
Love it.
You need it for the bucket list
Ben,
experience.
Ben, what about you? Are you doing anything in the off year? Anything special
You
next
know,
summer?
I like to do a lot of camping. A lot of my family's out in Washington, so take some good time to drive across the state, spend time with them. You know, all my really good buddies are still down in California, so I was trying to make some time to get down to San Francisco, see them. And Jeremy kind of stole my answer, but I'll add a little spin on it. It does make the festival more special. You feel like even more like a kid Christmas Eve, just ready to rip it. I think in that between year, it does give you a good amount of time to chase these bands around your region, right, or your city. I think Seattle is chock full of bluegrass. There's a lot more venues that are booking a lot more bands. So Joe and I already talked about it. We're like, the moment we see Litch Brothers out here, we want to go see them. And there's many a name that played this past festival, which I'm sure we'll fill the nooks and crannies with. But yeah, it's just kind of nice to breathe a bit and then makes it a little bit better that every other year.
Yeah, we filled in some good stuff last year too. We had Ben and I went to catch Dead and Company at the Sphere as well. So that was kind of our big musical
Nice.
endeavor. And then we also went to the 60th in San Francisco. So we got to see plenty of
Oh,
music, even though we weren't at Telluride.
Oh, yeah.
well, you picked two good ones to go to. That's for sure.
Yep.
Well, before I forget, I got to do a shout out to the Georges, Nick and Jen George, friends of the show. They're in Portland. They're huge Mountain Grass fans. They're going to be at the Mountain Grass show at Tractor Tavern.
Oh,
Nice.
So you guys have to meet the Georges, Nick and Jen, when you go. They'll know what you look like. You won't know what they look like, but they'll find you.
I
Are
have a
all three
ticket
of you going to
already.
that?
Joe's going. It's my brother's 50th, unfortunately. So that was a tough one to pass on, but that's a big year. I can't miss that one for him, else I'd be an asshole little
Yeah.
brother.
My 50th is coming up in September, so I get it. I'll be
Yep.
disappointed if you miss mine too.
I'll be right in Chattanooga for you, T-Show.
Well, you guys should come for IBMA. Talk about a game changer of a festival. There is no view, but and Billy Strings is coming for the second year in a row. But there is no camp to set up. You show up and you're in the party, and you can make it 24 hours if you want to, or you can make it 10 hours if you want to. You can take shifts. You have a bed with climate control, and you just walk from room to room to room, and the picking is just outrageous. Professional quality all day, all night long. It's awesome. It's like the Grammys of bluegrass, but it's just for bluegrass. It's awesome. It's in October. It's a week long, amazing, die-hard bluegrass festival for sure. Want to let you guys know. So none of you are in California at the moment, but Nick Let's Go and the 100K Band, which is definitely not bluegrass, but you guys might really enjoy it. The guy's a really good entertainer. But he is on tour in your neck of the woods right now with Randy Steele as the opening act. It's just Randy Steele, singer-songwriter, but he does each act opening, and then he plays banjo with Nick Let's Go, which is definitely not bluegrass. He's going to be Berkeley's Too Far for You. Let's see. He's going to be Bend, Oregon, Thursday the 16th. Tractor Tavern, Seattle, on July 17th, the Friday. Dante's in
All right.
Portland, July 18th. So you got a couple shots to see Randy Steele, and boy howdy, if you go.
We have
Love
to
that.
go.
I have some buds down in
Yeah.
the Bay Area that go to a lot of Berkeley shows too, so I'll throw that out to them. See if they can't go last minute.
And there's several in California as well. So
Yep.
just want to make sure you guys know that they are coming through some of your necks of the woods. Is that next week even? Not far from now. So
Yeah. coming up.
Guys, Telluride was awesome. I am so stoked that we got to spend some time together today and kind of recap it. Is there anything that we haven't spoken of? Just like a festival, you'll always do things a little differently if you get a second chance. Is there anything that we haven't mentioned? Any stories you want to share? Any adventures? Anything about the magic of Telluride that we haven't been able to touch on yet?
I'd be remiss not to say all the great train songs we heard, guys. Great train songs out there.
What was our final count? 13?
13 train songs, yep, or mentions of trains in songs. So hopefully we knock it out here in a couple years. I think one thing Joe and I talked a lot about, and Joe, I know you have a note on your app, but in Trevor, I think we talked a little bit about this around camp too, is there's this mystique to it. There's magic in Telluride where everything just kind of lines up and works out, whether you're over-prepared, under-prepared, whatever, but the word serendipity got thrown out a lot. So, Joe, I don't know if you want to hit on a couple of those or if any makes sense now, but Trevor, I
Yeah.
know with your experience, you even talked about it a bit, so definitely a big topic. When we were walking away, that was a big takeaway for all of us.
You mentioned family, and I felt it. I mean, from the moment I unpacked the car, there was no concerns about theft or trouble or anything. I mean, it was truly, you felt like family, and everybody you spoke to within 10 seconds were best friends. It just, and the diversity of where people came from all over the world. But I thought driving 1,600 miles, I had some bragging rights, and I immediately found out, no, we came twice as far as you. We come from Jersey every year. We drive across the entire country. There's people I met that literally have storage units in that area to keep all their gear year-round just to come in for the festival and share with others. And I know you guys benefited. You all flew into Denver, I assume, and then Jeremy had all the camping gear, and just that's pretty unique. I'm not going to say it's the only one, but at that size and scale to have that family, that's very, very unique.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to touch on one moment though. I think it wasn't this year, but the last year we went. One of those moments of magical, just kind of serendipity where everything lines up. We had been there for the first 2 days, Thursday and Friday, and it was just raining nonstop for 2 days straight. We were wearing ponchos, just dripping the whole time, and we were well prepared, so it was all good. But finally, around 5:30 p.m. on Friday night, the rain broke and the sun came out, and the rainbow was shining across the valley. And it was right during Leftover Salmon set, who had brought Billy's strings out just randomly. He wasn't even on the lineup that year, but they were playing this song called The
Wow.
Light Behind the Rain. And it was just the most picturesque moment, light behind the rain, right when it all broke. And it's just things like that that just come out of nowhere, and you can't even write it. It just seems so good.
Amazing. Well, gentlemen, really appreciate you making the time to be here today. T-Shaw's Progressive Bluegrass, cover all things bluegrass, more than just the music, but the people, the community, the family, and I hope I can make it back out there again one day. The 2-year thing, it might take me 2 years to get motivated to go through that again, but I
You'll get the
definitely
itch.
feel like we're going to stay in touch. Yeah. Find me on
Definitely.
social media. Let's connect. And thanks again for being on T-Shaw's Progressive Bluegrass.
Yeah, thanks,
Hey,
Trevor.
thanks a
Of course.
bunch,
Thank
man.
you, T-Shaw.
I'm glad we
And,
made
and
this work, and hope to see you soon.
yeah, and long live Camp Off the Rails. You're welcome back anytime. Anytime we're there, and if we're not there, we'll trust you to carry on the legacy. So, yeah, thanks again, Trev.
Something fun, something different, a little bit unique. Like I said at the beginning of today's episode, without the fans, we have no bluegrass. Thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed this today. I hope you enjoyed the unique take. We've got a lot of exciting things still coming this season. Some super recordings coming up. I've got my follow-up episode with John Boulware. I've got an episode with Corey Walker coming up. And then we're almost getting into IBMA season. Next week, my brother and I are going to Nashville. Monday evening, we're going to see Kyle Tuttle Band. And then immediately after Kyle Tuttle Band, Luke and Drury for Mountain Grass Unit. It's going to be really exciting. Tuesday night, we're going to the Ryman to see the infamous String Dusters. Wednesday, we're going to take a backroom tour of Carter Vintage Guitars. We're going to do a little bit of honky-tonkin' and rockabilly as well. But it's going to be an awesome week with my brother, and who knows what stories and adventures could come out from that. So, a lot of fun in store. Hope you had a great time today. Hope you come back next week and following weeks. If you haven't heard the back episodes, my whole library's up there. Check it out. Have at it. A lot of great stuff that if you've missed it, you can always get caught up. So have at it. Go to town. And with that, I hope you stick around for a few moments and hear a message from our sponsor. Thanks again. Catch you next week.
One, two. It's a big purchase, it's a big deal. Trevor Shaw knows exactly how you feel for refinance or a new home. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan.
Hello, I'm Trevor Shaw. I'm not just a bluegrass aficionado. I'm a bluegrass aficionado that's a mortgage loan officer at Chat Mortgage in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'd be honored for the opportunity to help you get your residential mortgage loan or refinance anywhere in Tennessee, Georgia, or Colorado. From veterans using their hard-earned benefits to first-time home buyers needing down payment assistance to retirees finally getting the home they've always dreamed of. Call or text me today at 864-50-T-SHAW. That's 864-50-T-SHAW.
It's a big purchase, it's a big deal. Trevor Shaw knows exactly how you feel for refinance or a new home. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan. Trevor Shaw will help you get your loan.
Chat Mortgage is powered by Almeida Mortgage Corporation, NMLS number 271603. Chat Mortgage is located at 6650 East Brainerd Road, Suite 208 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Phone number 423-591-9801. Trevor Shaw, NMLS number 92938.